Hello and welcome. I am Scarberlock, and this is City of Heroes on the private Rebirth server. We're with our Stalker, who's level 12, Tiger Shrike, and we have 21,000 experience with 5,000 to go to level 13, and only 19,000 information. So here's what happened. As you guys know, I put up something for like, what, 800,000 that was, according to the auction house, had been selling for 1 million and had 32 people bidding on it. Figured, okay, put up for 800,000. Some people have probably put in some lower buy orders, we'll sell it. It didn't sell. I took it back, and I didn't realize I was going to lose the influence that I put it up for. Um, yeah, I looked it up. It turns out that's the way it was in live, and it turns out that's the way it is on Homecoming. I actually tested it with my character, and yeah, I just never noticed that if you take it back, you lose the influence. I guess when I was playing the auction house on my other characters, I had so much influence I didn't care. Whereas this one's obviously dirt poor. So I put it back up, the orange salvage, for 100,000. That's a tenth of what it's been selling for. That should sell. I'm a little disturbed that it didn't sell immediately, but who knows? It should sell if it's at 10% of what it's going for, and we should be able to make that money back, and then we'll kind of break even, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I never was one for playing the auction house. I always hated it. I probably should just be selling this stuff straight to the vendors and not even worry about it. But I saw, I got greedy. I saw the opportunity to make 1 million real fast and said, "Oh, let's do that." So we're a bit behind. We don't have the money to buy any enhancers for our slots, so we're just going to have to play bare with very few enhancements in our slots. We may slot in stuff as we find them, like we did with this mutation science enhancement. So you might be wondering, like, how can we play bare? You can. I actually did it by accident one time on a character, and this character basically, when it was a scrapper in City of Heroes. There's a thing called doing a respecification of your character, and in those days they had given you a free respec. They called them free specs for something. I can't remember what happened. They had rebalanced something in the game, and people were like, "Well, I wouldn't have taken these powers or slotted them this way if I'd known." Maybe it was when ED came out. This character was around level, I think, 27. And when you get to level 27, it's time to refresh your enhancements to the level 30 enhancements. And the way this worked is, if you did a respec, all the enhancements basically dropped into your tray here, and somehow or other they all dropped in, even though there's only 10 slots here. I can't remember exactly how they did it, because they didn't used to have all these tabs, right? It used to just be one row of these. But if you respec your character, all these things would drop out. You would redo the slots, and then you could put them back in. But they were in your inventory now. And what people would do to game the system, and what I did, was you'd do the respec, drop all the enhancements out at level 27. Your level 25 enhancements would drop out. You'd sell them all instead of them being locked in there and permanent. And then you'd use the money to buy the level 30 enhancements. And so I did the respec, and I sold all the enhancements, and then I had to log out for some reason, right? And then when I logged back in, I forgot that I hadn't bought new enhancements, and I went off and started adventuring. And I played through 2 missions. I think they were set to +1 difficulty with basically this character. She didn't have hide, but it was a regen character at level 27. I went through 2 or 3 missions, and I'm like, why is it so hard? I mean, I was successful, but I was like, why is it so hard? It's only +1. They're only a little. It's only like one elevated difficulty level. And then I like clicked on this and was like, oh my gosh, I'm playing without enhancements. You can play bare. It is possible. It will be harder. We're obviously not going to up the notoriety on this character, but we're just going to play bare for a while until we make that money back. When we get the 100,000 or whatever it is sells for, I'll go ahead and buy the accuracy enhancements for these powers. If it sells for a lot, we'll fully spec the character out. But for now, we're going to just have to play a little weak, and that's all right. It's fine. I don't mind the challenge. So we're now talking to Dr. Stefford, and Dr. Stefford is the next contact, and he's got the self-restraint story arc. He says, Larson spoke quite highly of you, Tiger Shrike. I don't know if we've met before, but you look awfully familiar. Ah, yes, that's right. I approved your medical papers when you were fit for duty as a member of Powers Division. I see Tyrant's yoke didn't take. Way to give it to... Is there something you need, Doc? He says, right, yes. Ah, yes, there is something I need, and you are the perfect... I work with certain individuals in the Renaissance, people of a more psychic nature, as it were. They have asked me to utilize my own specialties in neuroscience, one of my many fields of profound specialty, to aid them in recruiting other psychic individuals, telepaths and such. Before I ramble on for too long, my associate informed me that a seer, one of the aforementioned psychic individuals, has broken free of the seer network. She's too dangerous for me to approach, so that's where you come in. I want you to apprehend Seer 293 using this neural restraint. Okay, and I bought a couple of break frees. I didn't know this was going to be the story arc for Seers, but this will probably be useful if we're going to be fighting Seers, because they can do mental stuff to us, and we have no defense against that until we get integration, which I hope we're going to get offered at 14, but I fear we might have to wait till level 16 to get. Again, our saving grace with this character is going to be the hide, right? Because with hide, no one can attack us until we're ready, unless we're being ambushed. So we're going to have to keep an eye on our inspirations. We've got our dull pain, and we got a badge. Praetorian privilege, I guess, because we just walked in here. So we've got our dull pain, we've got our reconstruction, we've got some inspirations. We should be all right. And now we have to escape with the seer. So if we're going to escape, that means we're going to have to come out through the entrance, which means we've got to assassinate these guys. The hardest part is going to be all the missing. And when I can afford some accuracy enhancements, I probably will go ahead and grab them, just because it's so hard to deal with the missing. This is one heck of a set of missions. You know, when my friend said, you know, that they've made the Praetorian stuff sort of a degree, on a level of magnitude harder than the regular missions, he was not kidding. This is like a 9 enemy spawn, or 1, 2, 3, 4 up, 2 down, 6 is more. It's at least a double spawn. Constantly knocking me down. I absolutely hate that. And I'm not going to spend break freeze for the knockdowns. It's going to be more for things like stun. One thing I've noticed with the Assassin's Claw, I assume it's deliberate because it's an assassination power. Look at this. I assume it's deliberate because it's an assassination power, but if you click it and it's not ready, it just declicks, unlike other powers, where if they're not ready, they queue up. You can't queue up the Assassin's Blade, which is interesting. Now, there used to be, in Claws, there used to be a ranged attack. I think, let's see. I think Placate, maybe Focus is the ranged attack? Yeah, Focus is the ranged attack, okay. And there's a Cone. So there are a couple of moderate ranged attacks in this set, which, by the way, is different from martial arts, which has no ranged attacks. Wow, see, look at the size of this spawn. It's 4 yellow cons. And if it's the game is going to give us stuff like that, it's going to be really brutal without enhancements. Oh, wow. And if we look up here, there's also, it's hard to see with all these guys running around, but there's a bunch of cops up here too. I'm actually going to start over here and work my way back. And the reason for that is I think these guys up here are going to see me down there. And I mentioned this on the Scrapper series, that the enemies tend to look down but not up. So I'm going to pull these guys back here as much as I can, and then we'll fight them in here from upstairs, and then when the downstairs guys are the only ones left, then we will fight the downstairs guys. One problem with Stalkers, you know, Hide is awesome, and the Assassin's Blade gives you a really nice early lead in any battle when you start with it. It's a great opener, but one problem with Stalkers is you really give up a lot of your power and a lot of your effectiveness if you pull. So unlike our Scrapper, where we did a lot of, like for a situation like this, I would pull these guys, right? Because there's 4 yellows. If we pull him, and more than one of them come, we'll see, but if we don't get a crit from ranged attacks, and if we pull him and a bunch of them were to come, we lose our effectiveness. It's better to assassinate. Fortunately, we got just 2 guys, so that's fine. And we separated them out, which gives me a chance to take them out one at a time. Oh, nope, now they all came, see? And so now I have to fight all of them without the big quick lead of insta-killing one of them, right? So in a way, you're better off just walking up to them, right, and doing an assassination. But as you can see, the guys downstairs are not aggroing to us. And we're going to miss a lot now, because look at this, 3 times in a row. Because we don't have enhancements on our powers, because I was stupid and didn't realize that I couldn't take back the thing that I had put on the auction house. So it's a 5% charge for whatever you put up there. And so that's why it costs 50,000 to put it up, almost 50,000, what, 45,000 to put it up for 900k, and it costs about 5,000 to put it up for 100k. These civilians running around are really annoying. Like, I wouldn't mind if there were a few of them, but there were too many of them, and they're really frustrating because they push you around and they get in your way. Alright. Alright, so we one-shot kill him, you see, and now we only have to fight 3 of these guys. We're going to have to try to use some of these training enhancements for a while. Again, until our item sells for 100k. Again, I don't anticipate any issues with it. It should sell in the next few days. I don't anticipate... Look at the missing. Like, what I don't understand is it's 75% chance to hit, right? And yet, I seem to miss 3 out of 4 times. %95 chance. 77% chance to hit, right? And yet I'm missing 2 and 3 times in a row. A lot. Miss. I rolled a 98. Like that, I have 95% chance to hit with this thing. It's can't miss, and I missed anyway. Alright. I mean, I know it's not literally can't miss, but it's very frustrating when you're missing with your 75 and you're missing with your 75 and they're like, okay, I'm going to use my 95%, we should hit now, and you miss with that too. Now I have to take out everybody because again, we're going to be coming back here with the hostage. Yeah, all the spawns are like extra large. They're all 4. So clearly, they rescaled the difficulty. You know, and my friend said, oh, it's because people were saying it was too easy. So my question is this. Why didn't they rescale the difficulty in the rest of the game? And the other question I have is why rescale the difficulty automatically in the game when the player can rescale the difficulty by setting the notoriety? Right? You just visit the contact in Steel Canyon or wherever who sets it for you. And there probably is one in Pretoria, and I just don't know where it is and haven't bothered to look for him because I have no need to set it higher. And, you know, if it's too easy, you just set it at a +1 or ×2 or whatever. So, I don't know. I like the idea that the notoriety exists, but one of the issues I've had ever since they put it out, and I feel like it's worse now than it was back during live, but I just might be misremembering it, you know, just not remembering it in full detail. I feel like the difficulty, even in the main game, like in Paragon City, the weird part of that is you set your difficulty, right? You can make your difficulty +1 or +2 or whatever. You set it to +1, and the vast majority of enemies in the mission will be +2. You set it to +2, and most of them are +3. If you go watch my Scrapper video, for the longest time, I wanted +2 enemies, and I had it on +1 because every time I put it on +1, they kept giving me +2s. And what I used to say was, and I still feel this way, if the game's going to give you whatever it damn well pleases, why in the world would they let you set the difficulty if they're just going to do what they want anyway, right? So like here, I'm on ×0, right? This mission is +0 ×0. I'm not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a single player +0 mission, and yet I'm getting 4 yellow cons in a spawn. That's not a single player +0 spawn. That's like a 2-player +1 spawn. So if you're going to give me 2-player +1 spawns, why are you asking me what size spawns I want? I don't know. I'm not arguing that the game should have the exact same number of spawns all the time, but I do feel like the majority of the spawns should be what I've asked for. Otherwise, don't ask me. If you're not going to do that, then don't ask me. Right? I can understand if the designers are saying, as they originally said, you don't get to pick, we're deciding the difficulty of this mission, right? But I was one of a cadre of players who successfully lobbied the developers of this game to allow us to set the difficulty to what we want. And one of the reasons we were able to successfully argue it is because you can do it anyway, right? You can excuse me, you couldn't make it easier, but you could make it harder by just getting people to go in the mission with you and then drop out of your group, right? And then it would gear the mission to your larger group, and then, you know, once everything spawns, it stays spawned, right? And here is the seer. So I'm going to fight these guys first to make sure they don't get involved in the fight. So anyway, we successfully lobbied the admins of this game, the developers, Statesman and company, to allow us the freedom to choose just how hard we wanted the game to be. They finally bought into that argument and said, okay, you can choose to how hard you want the game to be, right? That's fine. And most people are raising it up. They're buffing it by the time they're 25th level. They're fighting +1s and +2s. That's what we want. We're having fun that way. It's great. But why would you say, okay, we're going to let you pick your own difficulty, and then say, oh, but we're not going to listen to you? We're going to give you +2s anyway, even though you asked for +1s. Why? I asked for +1s. So, I don't know. Alright, we're going to make sure we hit with this, and bam. And we're stunned, so there's what the break free is for. This way he can't just keep pounding me and knocking me out. I think as we think about this, with the lack of accuracy that we're going to have for a while, a couple levels probably, unless we sell this thing right away, with the lack of accuracy, we got to take hide off again. I think what I need to do is stop carrying not just endurance, but maybe even heals, because we have 2 self-heals. And we also have fast healing now, don't we? Right? So we're going to regenerate our healing really quickly. So I think we maybe don't need all of that. And please don't aggro to them. She aggroed them. Alright. As I was saying, with the inspirations, I don't know that we need to carry that many heal inspirations anymore, and we don't seem to need endurance right now because we don't have any toggles or anything. So I think what I'm going to do is, we got to carry break freeze, obviously, you can see that. But I think what I'm going to do is carry more, like 4 yellow pills, 4 insights. That's what these are, right? Yeah, insight. And I think what I'm going to do is like use them quite frequently, so that we can make up for the fact that we don't have a good set of accuracy enhancers on our powers. This is just what I want, is an NPC doing this crap to me, like knocking guys all over the field. You know, this is one of the other things that I don't like. I love this game, but one of the things that I find really, really frustrating is that they program the NPCs to act like the worst teammate in a pickup group that you're ever going to have in your life. Horrible, horrible, doing knockback all over the field, aggroing things they're not supposed to aggro, getting ahead of you, not keeping up, just going wherever the heck they please, not paying attention to their teammate. Really annoying. Oh, I hate these. I hate these people. Hopefully the seer can make it down. You coming? Yeah, she's got to jump over them too. They get all caught up on the stairwell and stuff. It's really funny because a bunch of them were over here before, and now they're over in the other room. Come on, seer. There don't seem to be any more ambushes coming. But yeah, one thing I could live without is every single City of Heroes mission where you have to have an NPC fighting with you. I literally could do without every single one. Um, and literally, if you can let them die and still succeed in the mission, I often just let them die because they annoy me. Right? They're acting like really annoying players that you would kick from your group because they're annoying players. Like, I don't know why the developers would program them to be that annoying, but oh well. Meanwhile, we're going to go back to the dock and ask him what he wants us to do next, right? So all we know is we've rescued this seer. And now we got to see what he's going to make of this. Click. He says, you did it, superb work, you know. This reminds me of when, wait a second, Dr. Stefford examines the seer's cybernetics for a moment, and then his eyes widen quickly. I need to get her inside. Call me from now on. So then he says, the cybernetics in this woman's head, they're unlike any seer implants I've seen before. Fascinating, amazing. It's as if they quadrupled the number of pathways that would likely extend the range, but the signal would be so weak they would only be picked up with a receiver of some kind. Maybe it's, can I help you further? Here's another thing. These newer missions, I don't know who's writing them, but the dialogue is, if you, what you'll see when we get to Talos Island, or you'll see if you look at the Scrapper videos, the old missions, the NPCs were very clear about, here's the problem, here's what you need to do about it, here's why. These guys, they write all this more realistic sounding like dialogue, but you're like, what's going on? Are you going to actually tell me what's going on instead of all these verbal affectations, you know? I apologize, Tiger Shrike. I get so tense with my work, you see. This has nothing to do with the mission. I sometimes lose focus on anything but it. Yes, I really could use your help. I want to find out more about these implants. But the only person I've dealt with in the past, on such issues at least, with any degree of success, was a rather, shall we say, understanding member of the Syndicate. Do you know what the mission is yet? I don't know what the mission is yet. We're 2 paragraphs in, and he's just blabbering. Again, if you look at the old mission text, much more concise, much more to the point, sometimes far more text than this, but they told you what was going on, and you got it. Whereas this is like, he's just blubbering, and it's not just this NPC. You can go back and look at earlier in the series. They're all like this. I feel like something changed with the writing as this game went on, and it got poorer. The mission design got much poorer, and one of the reasons I normally don't do this Pretoria, I'm doing it now, and it's fine. I don't mind experiencing it once. But one of the reasons I pretty much always just go through the main original game is because that's the part that I think is the best done. Anyway, he says, things are very dicey right now. I want you to escort me while I meet with Maxine. Oh, great. An NPC escort mission. Just great. Okay. Do we have... let's look at our enhancement. Oh, excellent. We have a damage enhancement, which we can put on here. And we have accuracy, and this is going to help us so much, guys. Even though it's only plus 7 or 8%, it's going to help us out so we can actually hit. We're not quite bare at this point, and we have a recharge we can put on reconstruction. There we go. Alright, so we're going to meet with the Syndicate and escort him, and this is going to be one where we're going to have to protect him, and that's going to be really annoying because, again, we can't use hide because we're going to have to escort him, and he won't be able to see us if we're hidden. And I guess the other thing is, too, like when I was doing some of the, like the Twin Shot story, there was a bunch of this where I couldn't use hide. I was using my Stalker, and I couldn't use hide because of the same nonsense where the NPC can't follow you. And it was mission after mission after mission where I had to keep turning hide off and couldn't use it. It's one thing to not be able to use your signature power once, but to not be able to use your signature power for like 2 story arcs in a row every single mission, and the missions are geared harder than normal rather than the regular defaults. That was really frustrating to me. And so yeah, I'm not a big fan of these newer missions. That's for absolutely sure. So, you know, again, we're walking through an empty set of rooms. I assume we're going to have to fight our way back out. But this is just wasting my time. Why didn't we meet the person, like, back in that room? Why do we have to meet all the way down here? I guess because they want us to have a big battle on the way out. Okay, so let's see who's in here. We've got 1 lieutenant and a minion. And another minion. Okay. Are we going to do a cutscene here? What's going on? Okay. Why'd he drag you along, Powerpuff? Afraid something might happen? Let's just say I'm insurance. Don't worry. Nothing's gonna... Wait, did you hear something? It sounds like ghouls. So now we have to fight off the ghouls. Okay. I think I can go into hide here. Because we're just staying here and he's not following me. I'm just hitting tab. I don't... he's freaking out, but I don't see anything to freak out over. What? Who just shot me? Look at that. I'm hidden. But he's got me anyway. Now I'm guessing these NPCs are going to help me. So what I need to do actually is back up. I don't care what happens to these NPCs. I only care what happens to the doctor. Because we're supposed to be protecting him. So I don't really care. Like, see, the one NPC went running off. You see this? She's all by herself now. She's going to die, right? This is what drives me nuts. And if I was on a team with her, I'd be yelling at her over the channel, will you stay back? Stop running up. Let them come to us. But she's not going to do that, right? Come back, please. What is the range on their throw? Ridiculous. Okay, now we've got a lot of them here. This is going to be trouble. Look at this. And see, this is the other thing that irritates me with these missions where you have all these NPCs is the game assumes, right? It scales the difficulty assuming we're probably going to die in this. It scales the difficulty assuming, oh, well, you've got NPCs helping you, so we'll, you know, there's 4 of you, we'll do it like it's a 4-man team, except the NPCs are idiots, and they don't, and they're stupid, and they don't do what good players would do. So it's not a 4-man team. It's me and like 1 NPC, right? This would be more interesting if they were coming from different directions and we had to really defend this guy instead of them all coming from the same place. Alright, I guess I better back up. Because these guys aren't going to come over and help me unless I drag him back. Wow. Better back up. Yeah, we're gonna die here, because you see the NPCs are not helpful enough. And they don't seem to miss me, even when I've got dodge on and stuff. Or not dodge, but like lucky. So I don't know if they're gonna survive, because the battle's gonna keep going while I'm outside the mission. But yeah, you knew, I told you we were going to die, and that's mostly because, again, the mission is scaled to like, oh, you have all these NPCs helping you, but they don't help you, right? They all stand in one place. The villains all gang up. They don't have any way of drawing aggro or managing aggro or anything like that. And so they're just moronic. And there's really nothing we can do about that. I guess that looks pretty good. You see I have no urgency here, because the thing is, if they can kill the doctor, I can't get back to him fast enough. It doesn't matter whether I stop um, to buy items or not. By the time I get to him, he's dead. Right? If they're able to do it, I don't know if he can be killed, but if he can, he's done. Right? It doesn't matter how fast I got back over there. There's no way I would get there in time because of this whole run across the zone. Oh, come on. Alright. Okay. In we go. I've enjoyed some of the Praetoria storyline, but at this point I'm ready to go to Talos Island. I mean, I know we got a long way to go, but I'm ready to get out of here. Oh, by the way, we have debt. So this server actually has debt. The other one doesn't seem to. Homecoming, I never get any debt when I die. So we have debt. That's actually going to help us a little bit. Debt helps for gaining influence. Oh wow, look at this. Debt helps for gaining influence relative to experience, because you only get half the experience and the rest is working off debt. You can see it there. Right here, watch. 15 experience, 15 debt, 20 information. So we're getting 15 debt. I mean, we're getting 15 experience for every 21 information. Is the doctor dead? Oh no, he's alive. Instead of getting 15 experience, instead of getting 30 experience to 21 information, we're getting 15 and 15 and working off the debt. And so I had friends who would purposely die. Now there's more coming. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, you can't even see them and they're already attacking you, which is ridiculous. So, yeah, I had friends who would jump off skyscrapers and stuff and purposely die and get debt for like a whole level worth of debt. What is he doing? So they would purposely fight off. They would purposely, sorry, fight off. They would purposely, I'm looking at this where it says fight with the ghouls. They would purposely die over and over again until they had like a whole, like 8 beads of debt or whatever, with the intent of having less experience per influence earned, leveling up slower. Now you don't have to do that now, because you can just turn off XP gain in the options. I believe that is still an option. Can I click this, please? Yep. Disable earning XP, right? Alright, so we got a clue. What's the clue say? Maxine? Dr. Stefford and Maxine appear to be old acquaintances. That's all it's going to say. Alright. Alright, so out we go. Well, so 1 death, not too bad. We got a little debt that actually worked to our advantage, I guess. And he says, horrifying. The seer implant that I removed from Seer 293 appears to emit some sort of tracking signal once the ghouls are inclined to listen. One the ghouls are inclined to listen to. Maxine informed me that some of her brethren in the Syndicate have started hearing reports about increased ghoul activity over in Neutropolis, and the Crusaders have been talking about more and more coordinated ghoul attacks on their positions as well. I have a theory that these events are somehow linked, but I do not yet know how. I have to admit, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to count on you, Tiger Shrike. Most people don't even notice the seers anymore, So I'm pleasantly surprised that you are interested in figuring out if there is a link between the seers and the ghouls. And the next mission, let's see, how long has this video been? We're at 35 minutes, so I'm going to take the next mission, but I'll take you out and we'll come back for another episode. But part 3 is the implant I dug out of Seer 293 has 4 times the number of synaptic accelerated pathways, greatly extending the range. You said that already. I have a theory about it that works, but I need you to help me find some evidence to back it up. And then he says, excuse me, at first I dismissed the design as flawed, but I'm starting to see a real brilliance behind this device, Tiger Shrike. The range is extended, that is key. This device, attached to a Class 11 seer like our friend 293, has a range of roughly that of Imperial City. A strong seer could easily cover Pretoria City. But here's the key that threw me off. The range is increased, but at the expense of power. With this installed, Seer 293 couldn't read the mind of a fly, nor could she transmit a thought with any clarity beyond a foot. The device simply saps so much strength. So why was she so powerful when you found her in the office building? I have the answer to that, my friend, but I have the answer to that, my friend, I hope you will find in MICIR's SEER facility in Industrial Avenue. So we have to go and examine that, but we're going to stop for now, and I'll bring you back in another episode. For now, I am Scarberlock, and we've had 2 deaths with this character, I believe, so that's a little ignominious. I'm Scarberlock, this is City of Heroes on the Rebirth server, and I'll be back with another episode shortly.